You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Alright, welcome to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 58. I'm Clark from 5 Card Guys on Instagram, and joining me is John, who is Trade You at Recess. And as we mentioned in this past Friday's episode, Hyung is busy setting up his office, which he completely renovated, so he'll be joining us hopefully next week. Alright, off the top for today's episode, I just wanted to draw attention to this Instagram post from @uncle_Ray_sports cards, who submitted 22 cards to PSA, and he alleged that PSA sent it all back ungraded because they stated there was evidence of trimming on each of the cards. I think it was on all 22 of those cards from the photo that I saw. Now, Uncle_Ray noted that 85% of those cards he submitted were pack fresh, and the rest were in BGS 9 holders that I presume he cracked out and resubmitted. He also mentioned that PSA still charged him $2,500 for the whole process. So there's a lot of questions here, but John, what are your initial thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, was it you or Hyung that first sent it and brought it to our attention?
I think it was Hyung.
Was it Hyung? Yeah. My initial obviously was like unreal. Like I couldn't, right. Like that's unbelievable. And you get upset at PSA, and then to find out that the dude got charged $2,500, like the full grading fee, for cards that were, I guess, I don't know. It's arguable whether they were graded or not. Like they'll check the edges and then they'll see that it's trimmed. And how could you, because I don't know about trim cards, but I heard that previously, if they deem it, if they don't qualify for whatever reason, they don't charge, is what I've heard. So there were some comments about how people upset how could PSA charge the guy, but after thinking about it more, it's hard to I'm still siding obviously with Uncle Ray, but I don't know. I don't have him on Instagram. I'm added him now. I don't know any about the guy, how legitimate he is. How true all of this is, no disrespect to Uncle Ray, but maybe they are actually trim cards and PSA is just doing their job and he's just kind of making who knows what the real truth is. Right, but obviously on the onset, it just looks really, really bad on PSA. But we don't know what the real truth is here.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. Like I mentioned, there was a lot of questions here that we don't have the answers to, right, or we're not privy to, right? The context of everything. Yeah, I don't know who Uncle_Ray is. And, just reading the comments, it seems divided a little bit, where some people are saying, well, don't trim your cards, buddy, if you don't want it back. So obviously they're siding with PSA, and then there's others that, just anti-PSA, right? So it's like, how can, exactly what you're mentioning, how can they do such a thing? Right. Bottom line for me is, it just feels like this is another example where we just need a little more transparency from PSA, lacking any details of the situation. Right. We talked about it before, we don't know why some of the cards get graded the way they do, even when they do come out with a actual grade, whether it's a 10 or a 9 or an 8, or in some cases, I think Hyung got a 7 or 4. I can't even remember. He got a really bad grade for one of the cards and no explanation, right? And, of course, this is more of an extreme example, but I think they can improve that transparency process of why and how they grade their cards. What was the evidence in this case that it was trimmed, right, and just to educate us a little bit more about that. And, another thing is it just feels like PSA just needs better customer service. It's not good when collectors are venting on their social media. I think it could have been avoided if, it didn't seem like they reached out to him and talked in detail of what actually happened, right? So yeah, it looks like they need to up their customer service, and maybe something like this will get them to consider investing in that area of their company. Right. But yeah, all around, it's kind of a mess. And unless people stop using PSA, I don't know if any changes are going to happen right away, unfortunately.
It is, I mean, all 22 or 23 cards, whatever it was, it is kind of absurd though, like both ways. It's absurd looking at it from PSA saying like, man, how could you do that to the guy? But at the same time, if you are a trimmer, it would make sense that you have trimmed all of your cards and then they would all get caught at the same time, right? Like how is it possible that 22 straight cards are deemed trimmed by so-called professionals, right? So it's hard to believe. Yeah, it's hard to believe both ways. But going back to your accountability thing, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I have a gripe with PSA. Like the one time we did a bulk submission back in the day, I sent in a 91? When's Shaq's rookie? Anyways, you know the Shaq Upper Deck rookie where he has the three images? It's not the 1B trade card. It's like the main number one draft pick card that I pulled from a pack when I was a kid. Mint condition, flawless. I thought I had a real good shot at a PSA 10. I sent it in along with, like 100 other cards. And I don't know if you remember, but it came back a PSA 7 and it had a visibly dinged corner, like as if I dropped the card from 10 feet and it hit the ground, like concrete floor. I would never send in that card in that condition. And, it was one of those things where I talked to Hyung about it and he's like, should I even fight this with PSA? He's like, dude, you're not even gonna get a response from them. Like, it's not even worth it. And, unfortunately, I didn't have a video of it, like me putting it in the card saver. There's no real proof on my end that it was mint going in. So like, what am I supposed to say, right? It's not, but my other cards, none of them had dented corners. So it's not like, PSA can claim that it was dented by USPS or whatever, right? So it was one of those tough situations where, like, again, that was, it was only one card, but it was a big card. If that was at the time, if that was a PSA 10, it's $4,000. But if it was a PSA 9, I think it would have been like $150. So I'm not a professional grader. I thought it probably was for sure a PSA 9. So at the same time, I was like, okay, maybe it would have been a PSA 9. Do I really want to go through the hassle of fighting these guys for like $100 card? Maybe not. So I kind of let up on it. But yeah, going back to the accountability thing, man, like
so brutal.
Yeah, what are you supposed to, I'm sure there's other people who experience the same thing. And what are you supposed to do, right? Like PSA is going to say, no, sorry, man, it was you sent it in like that, or it was the mail service or FedEx that kind of dinged it. Like, what am I supposed to say? You packaged it incorrectly. And it could have been the grader in the moment. He go, oops, and he dropped the card onto the table and it dinged. And he's like, whoa, you know what? I'll just like package it. And like, there's no accountability. There's none whatsoever. So, I hear you on that. Like, I think PSA does need some more transparency. For
sure. And hopefully we get it. So, but we'll see how this situation ultimately plays out. But I don't know what else to say beyond that. All right, let's move on then to hobby headlines. So the weather's getting warmer with summer now upon us. So I thought we could talk about our summer strategies when it comes to sports card collecting and investing. And what I mean by that is, does what we look to buy and sell depend on what sports are in season and which ones are in off season? So, for the summer, the NBA and NHL are wrapping up. There's no football until the fall. But we do have baseball as well as other active sports like F1 now, tennis, golf, soccer. So just curious, in other words, to see what's on your watch list with different sports now in off season and others in full swing.
Right. Man, when we recorded a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the market downturn and how to react to it. I work in real estate, so I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Toronto right now, the market is correcting, quote unquote, correcting quickly. Like percentile real estate percentages are going down daily. So it's looking pretty bleak. And then you look at the markets, you look at what's going on in the war and everything. And it just seems like everybody is hesitant, scared. saving up their money for a rainy day. So I don't know where
Yeah.
sports cards falls in all of this. So in terms of like what I am doing personally, I sold a bunch of cards, getting ready for the we'll see. Like, I mean, getting ready for the sports car show, the expo that's coming in a couple of weeks. I think we can probably get a pretty good temperature check on the market and purchasing and who's selling, who's buying. And that'll probably give us a better indication of what's going on. But I would say I am proceeding with a lot of caution. I think I'm going to kind of wait on the sidelines to see when I can
Sure.
jump on. But in terms of watch lists, not to sound like a broken record, but Luka is on the list. As much as people are harp that he's about to get possibly swept by the Warriors tonight, we'll probably find out the answer after we stop recording this. Um,
Hmm.
Soto is on the list. He is not off to the hottest of starts as usual, and I'm hoping that continues all the way to the sports card show.
Right.
And then I also mentioned this before, like I think most of my watch list now, to be honest, is hockey SP authentic Future Watch autos. That there's a
Yeah.
ton of Future Watch autos that's on my list. I am looking to potentially flip a lot of my collection into Future Watch. So something I've been thinking of. I'm just kind of waiting to see. The price has to be right for me. So like I mentioned, like guys like Barkov, I'm
Yeah.
interested in. The price has to be right, and I'll look to possibly trade into it or flip.
Yeah. No, I like that. I'm not sure if we talked about it more extensively off air about the whole strategy to invest in hockey cards, especially the Future Watch autos, which are
Right.
numbered to 9.99, limited set, and consistent year after year. So we all agree that we love that set. But yeah, maybe we can explain a little bit more in detail, like what made you think about going hard in this area. Do you think it's just too cheap, or do you think hockey's going to have a resurgence? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, so Future Watch autos have always been popular. I remember trying to go after the Sidney Crosby
Yeah.
Future Watch auto, and I don't know how it is now because it's been a while, but it was incredibly tough to hit anybody of any kind of name auto coming out of a hobby box. I think the hobby box was pretty expensive at the time, probably like 150, $200. You get two Future Watch autos, and there was probably like a 300 to 500 signature checklist. So I was getting like
Right.
Niels Torkinson autographs, and it was like brutal. Like
Yeah.
there's no way you're getting Sidney Crosby. But anyways, to me, it kind of feels like we talked about how Upper Deck doesn't have Chrome product. It doesn't really play in the parallel space as big as Prism and Topps Chrome. So people, you can kind of tell. I mean, this is just my own opinion, but I feel like people kind of getting bored of Young Guns. It is a base card. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a like an like a short print, like a base versus like Prism and stuff. But it is just like a normal paper base, right? And I think people are looking for something a little bit more special. And the next thing I mean, there are parallels. Don't get me wrong, there are parallels of Young Guns, but they're extremely tough to get, and they're very expensive on most players. So the easiest thing to look at next is Future Watch Autos, and it's awesome, right? Because it's on card, it's numbered, it's kind of got everything that you really want, right? So, yeah, I think. I don't know. Like I've always been a hockey guy. I haven't really been collecting cards since like hockey cards since I was a kid. I think some of that passion is starting to kind of creep back. I know hockey the most, so it would make sense for me to kind of dive into it. And at the same time, I am kind of betting that maybe at NHL will have its course and it will have its run at some point. So for me, I'm not gonna, I don't think at this point I'm brave enough to really go all in and start trading thousands of dollars of my collection kind of thing.
Hmm.
But if there are some cards that I think are the right buys at the right price, I'll probably make the move. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
like
it's
that.
tough to say, man. It's tough to say if hockey will have its resurgence. I don't know if it is just gonna, it's always been number 4 of the big boy sports. It's not like it's ever really flirted with number 3 or number 2. So I'm not anticipating it's gonna like overtake any of the other guys in popularity. But in terms of the hobby, maybe there's a chance that there's a bit of a run up.
Yeah, no, you never know, right? Like we just interviewed in our previous episode on Friday with Refractor Jones, and
Mm,
he was mentioning when he got into the hobby, like in the '80s, it was all only baseball cards, and no one was
right.
really talking about basketball. And then fast forward to today, basketball cards are hot, right? And although
Right.
it's been seeing a bit of a decrease a little bit now, but overall it's been pretty hot. So who knows? Hockey could see the same thing. The one thing I'm a little nervous about is that I can't even remember when the last report came out, but I think soccer is on the verge of being number four. I don't know if it's in North American context, right?
Right.
And
I could see that for sure.
the article says like the explanation is simple. All you need to play soccer with is just a couple of goalposts and pylons and a ball, right? And with hockey, you need a lot of things, right? And you need money
For
to
sure.
get into the league, and that's kind of playing itself out on a global scale, right? So,
Right.
um, so yeah. But I'm having said that, I'm still bullish on hockey. I think hockey cards are going to still continue to trend upwards. It might just take time, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, I like that. I see that more as a way to going back to our original topic, what I'm doing for summer strategies. Like if you're staying in sports cards, and yeah, take all the caveats of what's going on in the world economy these days. But if you're still looking at investing in sports cards, it's just another way to diversify my portfolio, sports card portfolio, because I don't really have a lot of hockey cards, right? And if I want to
Right.
start collecting some hockey cards, I think the Future Watch Auto, that's always been on my radar. Like for
Hmm.
all the same reasons you mentioned. On card autos, number to 9.99, and still relatively cheap for not the stud players like Crosby and such, but for above average or elite players that can take even the next step where you could see that jump in value in the next year or two.
Right. Right.
So
And this is another thing to note for some of those that are kind of looking to get into hockey or investing. Hockey is because it's kind of a bit off the radar in terms of the main big boys. It's not as volatile, right? So, like you said, if you're looking to diversify some of your funds into some safer plays, hockey's been relatively safe over the last. It hasn't had some crazy volatile run-ups like some of the other sports,
sure.
F1 and NBA, etc. But you can say that it's been protected at the same time pretty well, right? Like the Young Guns cards, this whole base is dead. Young Guns is a base card, but it didn't follow that trend.
True.
Kind of hockey kind of has its own little specific market. So as much as it hasn't been going up as much as some of the other, and you maybe couldn't have profited as much. Most people that are in hockey right now probably didn't lose as much in the
Hmm.
last 12 months as those other people who invested in NBA and NFL and et cetera, et
Totally
cetera, right?
agree.
So
Yeah,
something to think about as well.
for sure. Yeah. For me, in terms of summer strategies, or I'm getting ready to go to the expo and make some moves, hopefully. But yeah, during these times, the mid tier cards and the lower to mid tier cards, they're seeing, because of the market and how it is, like they're seeing bigger drops, right? And if I can
Mm,
move some of them, and you already did that, right? You sold a lot of those kind of cards, so you have at least capital ready to deploy for the bigger cards that are
right,
also kind of seeing that decrease. So overall, that's kind of my strategy to liquidate what I can on the lower to mid tier, and then have some money to hopefully buy into, the blue chips, so to speak, which
right.
are also seeing, a good discount, right? Like whether it's your Mike Trouts or, McDavid. Like I'm sure they're still pretty expensive, but for some for some collectors it might be in their range now to actually pull the trigger to add to their collection, right? So yeah,
Right.
like I'm always still looking for Luka, like you, Tatum. I'm
Yeah.
getting greedy. I already have a couple, but I want to just add more during these times. Um, who else? And on a side note, like because a lot of collectors are looking to liquidate, um, there are some cards that are just a lot cheaper than you would expect. So you guys know, or our group of collector friends knows, that I was looking to complete the home field advantage subset for the 2022 tops, which were the case inserts, the Panini Downtown ripoffs. And you know, I bought Vlad and Judge at the peak, you know, for about 100 $150 respectively. And now you look at them and all of them are like anywhere from $25 to $50 depending on who the players are, right? That includes Tatis, Acuna, Trout, you know, all those guys. And if the hobby was hot, I'm pretty sure those would be at least double the price, you know? And
Agreed.
And now it's like, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's, you know, they just want to get, if it's not a huge hit like you see in some of the breakers YouTube feeds, then they just want to just get rid of it for whatever they can get it worth. So, you know, set collecting, or, you know, for me in this case, completing a subset becomes a lot more affordable. And I'm just taking advantage of doing that as well. And I think I did mention in a previous episode that I was going to do that. And yeah, just an update for you guys. I got all the 10 cards I needed for that home field advantage. So I did complete the set. It's going to look nice when I actually get them in my hand. But yeah, it's kind of fun. Again, we were talking to Refractor. He's the ultimate set collector. And I could see the appeal in it. Like, you know, I'm not going to hoard thousands, tens of thousands of cards. But, you know, like the ones you can manage, yeah, like a lot of those subsets are totally doable. And, you know, it's kind of fun. So it's a good time to do that if you wanted to, because it's all of a sudden more affordable to do that kind of thing. Yeah.
I also have my eye out on, I haven't been able to pull the trigger, but I have my eye out on female athletes.
Okay.
Female athletes have always been on my watch list. I haven't made the move, but you know, Serena Williams.
Serena, yeah.
Yeah, I couple of times I watched exquisite autos of Serena Williams. Way too expensive. It's so expensive. Like Serena, high-end Serena Williams. I mean, you guys saw the record-breaking price of her Net Pro, like RPA. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know what that went for, like $250,000. But Serena Williams is big. I was looking at like Candace Parker, a couple of WNBA players. Chloe Kim, gotta represent the Koreans. She could go down as one of the greatest like female X game athletes. So I was like, just a couple, you know, I'm not sure if it's PC or investment or both. But yeah, I wanted to mention that there are female athletes on my watch list for sure.
Yeah, I like that move too. How about golf? I know I think a week ago you sent what was that golfer's name?
Morikawa, Colin Morikawa.
Right. And
yeah.
That was a pretty sweet card. Like I think there's
it was the Goodwin, the brand new Goodwin exquisite auto patch. I think it was a gold numbered out of 10. Went for raw, sold for like 4,500. Wow, yeah. Golf is not being slept on, man. I feel like golf. People are attacking golf for sure, with the anticipation of the Netflix series.
Right. Do you know when that's coming out?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know when's the projected date, but yeah. I only have Tiger and Rory. I would love to add Colin. I would love to add Bryson DeChambeau. But man, they're expensive. So keeping my out. They're on my watch list, but yeah, they're not a priority right now, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that golf cards are making waves right now, so we'll see how that goes over the summer, especially. Before we,
I might regret it sitting here not buying any of them, and then it just explodes in 6 months. Like, shit, I should have listened to myself.
Oh yeah, we'll record that episode in 6 months, and that'll inevitably happen.
Yeah.
Before we move on to our next little segment, any thoughts on F1? What's your thoughts? Like, for me, I feel like I said this before. I feel like it's not as big as it was even 6 months ago. So I don't know. Right. I'm still seeing big sales, right, from obviously Lewis cards and Max Verstappen, but I don't know. I feel like it's it might just be me. I feel like it's slowing down, but
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, we talked about this, and we talked about the fact, when we were comparing F1 to like Marvel, and how as newer sets of F1 come out, unless you're into the sport, it's really going to be hard to follow what the latest chase is. Obviously, you'll have influencers talk about it for the time being while it's a hot product, so you can just literally watch a YouTube channel and then find out who the hot chase is. But who knows what happens with F1 when there's like the third release or the fourth release or the fifth release, right? But when I watch some of the American, like the Dallas Card Show was just happening, it still looks like F1 is pretty hot in terms of sales. And when you hear some of the dealers talking about, the cards that are moving right now is F1, we're buying F1, like dealers will buy what's moving, right? So dealers are all about buying it and people are trading it and selling it. And then, on the flip side, people, are attending the shows to buy them up. So it's still, I mean, maybe it's not hot between us talking in right now within the podcast.
Fair.
But based on what I'm seeing on social media, it still seems like it's a fairly hot product. Obviously not as hot as the first release when you're talking about quote unquote rookie cards of Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen. But it still seems to be fairly strong from what I'm seeing. Okay, which is good news for those that are into F1.
Sure. No, yeah. I'm totally open to being wrong about that, but I just wanted to kind of gauge what you thought. yeah. Like
I mean, let's get it straight again. I'm not particularly bullish on F1. I don't have any F1 on my watch list. But yeah, if I'm wrong about it, I'm completely okay with being wrong about it.
All right. Okay. So, we'll see how the summer unfolds, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it while we're in the summer season, what we're buying, and especially after the Sports Card Expo here in Toronto, we'll update all our listeners what happened then. Okay, so we'll move on to our next segment. We don't have a title for it, but it's just more of a promotion that we're going to offer for our listeners. Us at 5 Card Guys, we partnered with Candy Digital, which is a digital collectibles platform, and they've been promoting and selling their MLB NFT packs, right? I think it's called the MLB Icon Leadoff Series, and I think they're up to 4 as of this recording. So they have Leadoff Series 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could think of these series as sets. So each series has a collection of players. So it's a different checklist for each series, right? I got a pack of Leadoff Series 3, and for that particular series, you could chase the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. card for Blue Jays fans. So, and you can't get that in Series 2, 1, or 4 that just came out. But anyway, we're going to do a promo and giving away 2 free packs to 2 of our listeners. We'll post all the details on our Instagram at Cards to the Moon this week. So once you see the post, read the details, and we'll tell you how you can enter, and then we'll draw the winner probably the following week to receive one of the 2 free packs. But just giving you guys an early heads up. But for our listeners, if you wanted more information about it, you could go to mlb.candy.com. I don't know, John, have you ever heard of these MLB NFT packs from Candy Digital?
No, I'll admit it's my first time. I think I saw some advertisements, but I don't know anything about the product. So you're saying these are cards, digital cards, and they're not, it's not like Top Shot, right? Where they're like moments.
They have, it's kind of a little bit confusing, but it is digital cards first and foremost, and they have different rarities. So you could think of these as parallels, right? So there's a core, which is kind of the common card. Then they have something called uncommon, and then it goes to rare, and then it goes to epic, and then the most rare card is the legendary parallel, right? So, and then you go on their website, you can see what the pack odds are of these cards. And like the cores are just digital cards of the players, and you could flip behind the digital card, kind of like a physical card, and look at the stats. But with these NFT packs, one of the cool features is that those stats are updated daily because of the players in season. So if you have them, you could always look at the back of the card, and the stats will be updated. For the more rare cards, there are video highlights that are included in their NFT. So in that way, it's kind of like Top Shots, but it comes with the digital card. So it's a digital card plus a video highlight of featuring that player, right? So
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's kind of cool, and like what I like about it personally is that if you do get a big hit, you could put it for sale on the Candy Digital Marketplace, and it's as easy as essentially 2 or 3 clicks. Name your price, and then it goes up on the marketplace. And if it gets sold, the money goes right into your account. And we talked about the advantages of NFTs in general, but it applies to these NFT cards as well. That once you sell it, you don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to worry about, on a buyer standpoint, you don't have to worry about it being a fake because it's on the blockchain. And so it's very easy to make your money that way. On the flip side, I'm not going to lie, some of the common cards or the core cards are worth 50 cents. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to make much of it. But at the same time, like, you could still probably sell, like, if anyone's looking to collect certain players to complete whatever set that they're going after, they could buy it easily for 50 cents. You're not going to do that in real life. You're not going to sell commons through the mail, right? Like, those are garbage at that point, or junk. So
true.
So that's another advantage of these digital cards. But anyway, we're going to give away 2 free packs to 2 of our listeners. If you're interested, look for the details on our Instagram post at Cards to the Moon later this week. All right.
Awesome.
So we'll finish off this episode with our regular weekly feature we call Pick One. All right. So it's just me and you, John. And I saw what your pick one was, and I want to up my pick one as well. So it'll be fun to see what we decide. But let's let the listeners know what we have for our extravagant pick one today.
Yeah. So I got the hypothetical pick one, but we're gonna go with Holy Grail Luka card.
Yeah.
Let's say it's whatever your Holy Grail is. Well, let's call it the National Treasures Logoman RPA, which sold for 4.6 million or whatever it sold for, versus the entire stock of Luka Prism Silver PSA 10 with a market cap floating in and around $5 million. So do you get the singular Holy Grail, or do you get the entire market cap of Prism Silver Luka PSA 10s? And it doesn't have to, for the sake of argument, let's say that the values are exactly the same, and it doesn't have to be Luka. It could be any other player. The point is singular Holy Grail card or an entire stock of silver PSA 10s. Right.
Yeah, when I first saw this in our show notes, like, it was easy for me. Like, it's one of those things where you just know, you decide right away. And
right.
So at equal value, so one Holy Grail, let's say it's worth 5 million, and then the whole market, or the whole set, the whole, for this case, the whole Luka Prism Silver PSA 10 would have equal value currently, right? So, for me, initially I said, I'll just go for the one Holy Grail card. That's for me, that'd be amazing. And personally, I would want to do that, right?
Right.
But then, as I was giving my kids a bath, I was kind of thinking about the question further. And, like, what's the advantage of the other way? And then I thought, like, if I had all the PSA 10 Luka Prism Silvers, if I captured the market that way, I could essentially dictate the price of that card, right? So it might be worth 5 million right now, but I think it's still pretty liquid. I think if it's like a Silver Prism Luka, where I feel like there's always going to be demand, why not increase the price a little bit? Because I have all the cards, so I think in that sense, for pure value play, I would want all the Prisms Silvers, if there were liquid, if there were a good demand for it, because I feel like I could make a way more in a shorter period of time that way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man. You know what?
All 2,000 of the cards. Yeah, I just sell them at my price.
That's right. It's like a population of like just over 2,100.
Right.
So I thought about this. This was a fun one. Like when it popped up in my mind, I'm like, man, it really sucks that Hyung's not here because I would have loved to have his opinion on it too. But I'm with you, man. I think on a personal level, the RPA would be incredible. Come on, like Holy Grail Luka would be incredible. But there is something about hypothetically owning the entire stock of silver. Like you're just, you've never had an opportunity to wield that kind of power. I feel like if you did have that stock, you would be like Pharma Bro. You remember Pharma Bro?
Yeah.
Who like just like dictates the market and is just like this big time jackass that just like rips everybody off. I'm like, man, for once in my life, maybe I want to wield that kind of power. So I'm gonna pick the silver too. But on the flip side, if obviously there's nobody that could ever even obtain it because it's just impossible to try to get them all at once. But let's say you did. On the flip side, I would say if you were, because at that point with social media being the way they are, somebody would know at some point that Clark, 5-card guys, you're the one that's holding all of them and you're ripping people off and you're sports card bro. Like you're the guy, you're the dude that's the jackass, right? And then I think that the marketing of that product might tank, right? Like maybe there's a situation where the entire market's like, you know what, let's screw over Pharma Boy, let this idiot, and let's make his market cap of that card literally go to zero, right? So I feel like on the flip side, there could be some negative marketing that comes your way because you're greedy and because you want to be a jackass. So I'll play the flip side on that. Obviously it's a completely unrealistic possibility, but I would like to dream that it'd be fun. It'd be fun to wield that power for 5 minutes.
You know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna go with the RPA because you can totally see that happening.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna have to. I can't give him away at some point in that scenario. So, okay. So I'm going RPA. You're sticking with the whole.
For fun, I am sticking with it, but I scared myself too. I'm like, oh, actually, I don't know.
Or and we'll move on after this because it's pure hypothetical. But I was thinking I couldn't even sell them one at a time because if you do, more people are going to have that card, and then there's market dynamics involved, right? So I got to sell all of them at the same time for a slightly higher
Which
price.
You can't.
Or it's very limited to who I can sell to at that point, right? So maybe Logan Paul. I don't know, but
one giant PWCC lot, investor lot.
Yeah, that's the only way. If I can do that, I'll do that. All right. Okay, so after seeing that, I'm like, okay, I want to think of an extravagant pick one as well. So the one I thought about is Mario Lemieux O-Pee-Chee rookie card PSA 10, right? Population count 48. Ooh. And on Card Ladder, it was selling on average for about $46,000. Okay, so 48 pop count of the Mario Lemieux O-Pee-Chee rookie card PSA 10 versus the Connor McDavid 2016-17 the Cup top 10 picks autograph card. It's a 1 of 1 and it's graded BGS 9.5 True Gem Plus. So what I'm really going after is, do you go for the McDavid 1 of 1 card? And it's not the Cup, it's like a subset of the Cup, but still 1 of 1, and it's graded in a BGS Gem True Gem Plus, and versus the 48 pop count of Mario Lemieux rookie card.
Right. 2016. Is that a rook? That's not the rookie year though, right?
I don't believe it is. No.
Okay, so it's just like the Cup 1 of 1. Okay, 46. We talked about McDavid. We talked about how generational he is and how special he is.
Okay, before you go on, I'm going to add, just like you, it doesn't have to be that particular card. I just want to get fair comps at 46K, but imagine it's a superfractor 1 of 1 of McDavid. And it doesn't even have to be a rookie card. It's just a superfractor, but it's a 1 of 1.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. That was like a lead. That was like a lead-in comment because I think you felt where I was about to go with it. I might be wrong on this, but the collector side of me and the OG collector side of me I can't go away from the Mario Lemieux. I cannot. That is too much. The PSA 10 is too much of a grail card. And for, truthfully, for what it is and how much the Wayne Gretzky goes for, and I understand Wayne Gretzky is 79. It's a bit of a different like era in terms of pop count, like production in general. And then you've got the pop count PSA 10 at like 2, which I will bet any money one of them is probably owned by Wayne Gretzky or Dustin Johnson, versus Pop 48. But for who Mario Lemieux is, to me, that card is easily a 6-figure card. Should be a 6-figure card. So to see it at 46,000, I think it's very, very undervalued and underrated. And how much of a grail card that is. A 1-of-1 McDavid, oh man, I think people can easily make the argument the other way based on the trajectory that McDavid's going on. But I can't get away as a collector. That OG Mario Lemieux O-Pee-Chee rookie PSA 10, that is a holy grail card for me. I can't go away from it. I gotta go with Mario Lemieux.
Okay. Just curious, since we're playing hypotheticals, if the pop count was 500, would that sway your mind?
Yeah, you know what? Truthfully, if the pop count was 500, that would sway my mind. I'll probably go to a McDavid at that point.
Okay. So
Pop 48. Pop 48 is low, man. That is really rare. Yeah.
So not even the 1-of-1, which is obviously, a pretty sweet card, can sway you. And it's a McDavid.
Yeah. If this was like a rookie card. Actually, I don't know, because like a rookie 1-of-1 would be like $250,000 or whatever it would cost.
Okay, so you know what? Let's play that game. Rookie. McDavid rookie, I don't know if these exist, right? But McDavid rookie, 1-of-1, $250,000 versus a Gretzky PSA 9. I don't know, right?
Right.
With a pop count of like just under 100.
Right. And you know, at that point, if we're talking rookie cards and we're talking, like upper echelon percentile high end McDavid, at that point, I will pick McDavid. Yeah. I think it's tough to say. He's 100% generational. I think he has to win at least one cup to get into starting to get into the conversation of like best hockey players of all time. Skill wise, you can make that argument. But like some of the players these days, like Johnny Gaudreau is possibly skill wise better than 90% of the league 20 years ago, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but based on who McDavid is, yeah, if you own like the upper echelon of McDavid, I would certainly take that. To me, that would be a no-brainer over like a PSA 9 Wayne Gretzky. As much as that is kind of like a holy grail card for a collector, I think the modern game and where collectability and where, we're both bullish on where sports cards is going to go. And McDavid is certainly going to be top of mind for old collectors right now and even for new collectors. Mm-hmm. So I think it would make a lot more sense to go at that point, go after the McDavid.
Okay.
You got me, man. You got me.
I had to change a few parameters for me to finally get you.
Yeah.
It would have been boring otherwise, because I'm going for Mario Lemieux too. It's just a purist in me to get that rookie card, and probably nostalgia reasons as well. So I'm asking the wrong guy. I'm asking myself, as well. I'm kind of in that same boat, right? But yeah, with Lemieux, the pop count of 48. But I was kind of trying to make it work with Gretzky, but at the PSA 10 level, it's Gretzky. Like, there's only 2 of them, right? So,
I know, like, it's so tough to say.
You can't find good comps for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was hard to make that match, but yeah, I'm going with Lemieux as well. Although I like McDavid.
Right.
But it's funny.
I'm surprised. I thought you were trying to lead me into agreeing with you. I didn't realize you were also going to pick Mario Lemieux.
I don't want to. Yeah. I didn't want to sweep, I guess, but All right, this is what happens when Hyung's on the show. This is the pick ones that we come up with when unrealistic ones. I think we need Hyung back on the show to bring us back to reality.
We go off the rails, Clark and I.
That is true. All right, it is a shorter episode today because we are missing one person adding their input, but we'll have Hyung back next week. But thanks again for all our listeners. As always, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, we really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this episode, if you gave us 5 stars, that would help us out a lot. And looking forward to connecting with you again next Tuesday when we drop another new episode. Thanks, bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.